How is it going, everyone? It's Calamity here, and today we are going to be doing a review for Ice Age 2 The Meltdown on the GameCube. Now, I haven't seen Ice Age The Meltdown for a very long time. I have watched it, but it's been a long time. I think last time I saw it, I was probably still a kid, so it's been a while. But I saw this game, and I thought it would be good for Christmas because, Ice Age, snow theme. I was looking for basically games that had snow in them to talk about for Christmas time. So I saw this and I was just like, you know what, I'll give it a shot. It said it was a 3D platformer, so why not? I love 3D platformers. And I will say, for the price, it's not a bad little game. It's not the best 3D platformer in the world. It doesn't do anything that's that crazy or that innovative or anything like that. But it is pretty fun, and it does have a couple of cool ideas. So the whole point of this game is that you are going through the storyline of Ice Age 2 The Meltdown, but you are playing as Scrat the Squirrel for the majority of the time in this game. There's only one level that I can think of where you don't play as Scrat the Squirrel, and that's a level where you play as Sid. And we'll talk about that one here in a minute. But the main levels of this game require you to play as Scrat, run around the levels, and you are collecting acorns. That's kind of like the main thing you're collecting in this game. You collect those, and when you collect enough of them, you will unlock extras in the extra menu whenever you go back to the main menu. So that's the main thing you're collecting. But to actually get to the next area, a lot of times they'll either have you complete an actual objective, or you'll have to find some walnuts instead. You have to find a certain amount of walnuts, and then it'll let you go to the next area. So that's the main point of this game. And I do like the level design quite a bit. I like how it starts off in a snowy area, and as the story progresses and the ice starts melting, you start getting some different environments, and I do like the different environments that it takes you on. I think all of them actually look pretty good, and overall, this game does a good job of just capturing the animation style of Ice Age. They did a good job with all that stuff. The voice acting's really good as well. They do have some scenes from the movie for the cutscenes, and then there's also some of their own scenes that they made for the game using the in-game engine, which is fine as well. And honestly, the game doesn't look bad. The sound design's pretty good. All that stuff is pretty nice. The biggest complaint I would have for the actual platforming levels is that I wish that they had better music in the background, because there's not a whole lot of good music in this game. So whenever you're just running around these environments, 3D platforming, it's just missing a little bit something. Music can really help in the games. Like, for example, when I'm playing this old Spyro games, the music stands out because the music's really good, and it just adds to the gameplay because of that. It just makes for a lot more fun adventure. Same with Crash Bandicoot, same with even some of the Mario games. So the music is important for a 3D platformer like this, and this one just doesn't have very good music in it. But still, the actual 3D platforming, the puzzles on the levels and all that stuff, those are pretty decent. I do like those, and I like the different objectives that they give you. Sometimes they give you objectives where it's just you trying to get all the birds back to a nest. There's some where you have to put the correct eggs into the correct nests and stuff like that. And there's just basically simple objectives that you have to do like that. There are some mini games on the levels, and to be honest with you, I think the mini games are probably the worst part of this game. Not a huge fan of the mini games. A lot of them are just memory mini games, and I've just never really been a fan of those. They're fine for what they are. They work okay. The only mini game that didn't really work that well was the whack-a-mole mini game, because for some reason it did not want to read one of my inputs. I don't know why. I've never had that issue before. But for some reason on this game specifically, it just would not let me hit the bottom right hole where the stupid possum was popping out of. So whenever I was playing the whack-a-mole game, I had to redo it a couple times because it just wouldn't take my controller input. So that was kind of annoying. But most of the minigames anyway, I just honestly just wasn't a big fan of. The best level in this game, unfortunately, only is one of a kind. There's no other levels other than this level that is like this, and it is a level where you play as Sid. And this, like I said, this is the best level in the game, so I really wish there were more like this. So the whole point of this level is you are playing as Sid, and you are basically going down a gigantic slide, and you're avoiding obstacles, and you're trying to go through archways, which are basically kind of like checkpoints. You go through them, and you're getting points for going through those archways and collecting the acorns and stuff while you're falling down the slide. You're sliding down the slide. And I really love that level. That is one of the best designed levels in the game. It's really fun, and whenever you hit a ramp, it will do like a little quick time event, and you have to press the right buttons for the quick time event. It's almost like kind of how Rock Band works, where you have the button falling down, and you have to hit it at the right time. That's how it works. So I like the way that it plays, and I love the way that this level looks and the setup for it and everything, but I just wish there was more of it, because this is the best level in the game and you only get to do it once, and it's not a very long level. So that was a little bit disappointing, because they gave me kind of a glimpse at something kind of cool that they could have done more in the game, and then they just never do it again. And I was also excited because it's like, well, if you're going to play as Sid in one level, maybe you'll be able to play as Manny in the other levels or some of the other characters, and then that just never happens either. So for some reason, there's just one level where you play as Sid, and then every other level is still Scrat. So I really don't understand why they did that. It definitely doesn't feel like it connects very well in this game, especially since it's the only level where you play as a different character other than Scrat. But that's what they decided to do. And I guess I'm glad that they did that, because it is a good level, but I just wish there was more of that. Controlling Scrat and getting around the levels is pretty fun. There's some regular platforming that you see in all of these 3D platformers. There's also some climbing sections where there's certain spots on the wall where you can actually climb up and get to higher areas on the level. There's some attack moves that you have. You can't defeat every enemy, but you can at least stun them to get away from them for a little bit of time. There's some enemies that you can permanently defeat, but not all of them. There's some that are too big to permanently defeat, so you do have a couple of options for taking them down. You can just keep hitting them with your basic attacks, whether it be just your, squirrel kung fu moves, or throwing rocks at them, or you can use your special power bar that you get, and you can do like this squirrel attack where you spin, and you can do a spinning attack and use one of your special points for it. And you can keep getting more special points by getting fruit. If you find fruit around the level, it will give you more on your special bar. It will refill your special bar so you can keep doing those attacks. But those are a few of the different ways that you can attack enemies, stun enemies, to keep progressing in the level and just kind of get them to back off of you while you're trying to find more collectibles on the level. Because, there's some collectibles that you actually have to dig up out of the ground and stuff. And you're going to have to stun enemies while you're doing that, so they don't just keep knocking you away from what you're trying to dig up. There is a health bar in this game. The health bar is flower petals, so whenever you get hit, you will need to go find more flowers and hit them, and then take their flower petals to refill your health bar. Keep that in mind whenever you are playing the game. Luckily, whenever you get defeated or you have to respawn or anything like that, it doesn't seem like it puts you too far back. I never had it put me really, really far back, so the checkpoint system seems to be pretty decent from my personal experience of this game. This game also does have some swimming sections, so if you see water on these levels, most likely you're going to be able to swim in those different sections, so that's pretty cool that you can do that. One thing that this game did that was pretty different, that I actually thought was kind of cool, is if you look in the top left corner where your health bar is, you'll see Scrat's face, and if you are around an object of interest, then Scrat's face will change to a different pose, basically. He'll make a different face in that picture, in that portrait, and that will let you know that you're close to something that you may want to find. So it may help you find a walnut that you need to get to the next level. It may just help you find, some stuff to refill your energy bar. So whenever you see Scrat's face change, you press the Z button on the GameCube controller, and he'll start sniffing the air. And then you'll see a scent trail come out from whatever bush is around you, and if you go up and you sniff the bush, then that item will pop out of the bush. So I thought that was actually kind of different, kind of unique, and just a different kind of mechanic that you don't really see in a whole lot of games. I can think of some games that have stuff similar to it, but not quite like this. So that was kind of interesting, kind of different. So at least they did try to do something unique. It's a pretty decent length as well. I think I put about 4.5 to 5 hours into it, and I did technically 100% complete the game because I did unlock every item. I just feel weird saying that I 100% completed the game because I know I didn't get every single acorn, but I don't think it actually keeps track of that. It only keeps track of all the extras that you've unlocked. So I did unlock all the extras, so I'm assuming that I 100% of the game at that point. And it took me about 5 hours. So it's not a super long game, but it's also not a ridiculously short game. It's somewhere in the middle, so I think it's a pretty decent length for a 3D platformer. It performs really well also. I never had a single issue with performance in this game. No frame rate issues, no stuttering, nothing. This game performs fantastically, and I'm glad it does. And honestly, for the price, if you can pick it up for around $10 like I did, I think it's pretty good. Even if you're not a huge fan of Ice Age, if you can find it for a fair price, I think it's worth picking up and at least playing if you are at least a fan of 3D platformers. This is a decent little 3D platformer, and I'm glad that I have it in my collection. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you've played Ice Age 2 The Meltdown, let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe button for more video game reviews. I will talk to you next time. You have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.